title rewatch, Time World, and Praxeus.
Black girls have the box.
Hi everyone, it's Connie and Robin coming to you live from the Time Vortex. Today we're discussing episode 6 of Doctor Who season 12, Praxeus. In this episode there are, once again, too many dang characters.
Way too many.
And they just kept
many.
dropping like flies, and I was just like, but then what's the point of them? Why are we doing this? What was the point of Abaru? Why?
Honestly,
Why?
so I'm watching it with Bayana, and she's like, what happened to Abaru? And I was like, who? And she was like, he just got by the birds. And I was like, oh.
On his tippy-hedron.
And he was cute.
Right.
Because when he showed up first, I was like, ooh, he cute. And then, out of sight, out of mind, there's too many of them.
So
I, like the companions and everyone else, forgot all about him.
Right. So who is Justin? Robin.
It was okay. Can we just stop because
it's the first thing on the agenda, so I figure we must get it out of the way.
First thing that Doctor Who did right was it opened, and we don't know what's going on. But someone is like, was he trying to rob the store? I don't really know.
Unclear. I have a whole thing with that.
He ran in. The cold open was like someone ran in, and then someone came and tackled him. We don't know who that thing is, and the person pops up, and then I went, "It's Justin!"
Oh,
it's Justin
from
Luther. God dang it, Connie!
For our audience members who also may not go here,
who?
Plenty.
Who?
Plenty.
Luther.
Okay.
He's Justin from Luther.
Does he have a last name on Luther? Because you really only wrote Justin this whole time.
I don't even know his last name.
Girl.
Good copper. Justin. It's Justin.
Okay.
That bitch. Roll Dog. Justin Roll Dog from Luther.
Oh, okay.
He is, okay, so.
Sounds like an actual last name.
Luther.
Yes.
Is a detective show.
Yes.
From the BBC.
Yes. Idris Elba.
Idris Elba, which is why I'm like, who doesn't go here? Also, really shot Ruth Wilson into the spotlight, which is kind of stupid because she was also Jane Eyre. But that's just I guess that's a very particular Robin thing.
Indeed. Indeed.
But,
she was also Jane Eyre, guys.
Not also Jane Eyre. She was Jane Eyre. She was also Alice.
Okay.
Justin, so Luther is a cop who's coming off of suspension, and he gets a new partner, and that new partner is young, doe-eyed Justin, who quickly becomes his roll dog, goes through a lot of things.
Sounds like they typecast him.
Yeah, no, and so then so in this thing, it like my note says, it's Justin. Who is Jake? Justin getting his head straight because Luther fucked it up. Because it's literally a continuation of his character on Luther, except for something happens to Justin on Luther that would make this not work. But now I feel like I can't spoil Luther, in which case I'm like, are there spoilers to Luther? Because
no,
who is not watching Luther?
I mean,
it's very upsetting to me.
I mean, when we start the Luther podcast, we can do spoilers.
Can we do that?
Spoiler free. I don't know.
Can we have one of those?
I mean, we have,
a Fit 11 podcast.
Yeah, we got Fire Whiskeys. We got some limited series joints coming up. It could fit in there somewhere.
Oh my god, limited series podcast about my favorite small dose British television.
A smile on your face right now.
Write it down.
You write it down.
Oh god. So anyway,
but my other thing,
it's hilarious because the character of Justin and the character of Jake, the literal only difference is that Jake is gay. It is the same character. Like
they didn't even really try very hard to change his name.
Whoever cast him,
Jake, Justin, it's the same.
Right. Basically called him and it's like, hey, we want you to play Justin on Doctor Who.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Justin is a little bit more, he would never say, I don't do emotions. But other than that, and being gay. Even though it's Justin, we don't know.
Oh.
We don't really know.
Oh.
We kind of know. Yeah, he's not, but he could, I don't know.
You know, bye. It's out here.
So this episode was a success for that, not alone.
Yeah, because otherwise, I like barely wanted to watch it as it was, and then I was like, "This is still on." But
honestly, so we open with that. Does it even? We don't have like a title of where we are. I don't think.
I don't think so because I didn't notice the title until they got all the way to Madagascar, and I was like, "Have we been doing titles this whole time?" Yeah.
So we got a title in Peru, and as soon as the title came up, I groaned because it was just like, oh, well, we're in a whole different country now. We about to meet some new people. And I mean, we have Justin. Who else do we need? But like, also like,
right.
How many? Because we're at episode 6 now. Like,
my word, like the number of characters just between all of these episodes might beat out another season of Doctor Who with how many characters there are.
Yes,
like and it's 5 new characters this episode, and. Just like we learned so much about them. Like we learned honestly way too much about them, considering we have a whole crew of people that we have learned nothing new about. I know that Justin, they never say why he's on administrative leave, and I'm concerned because why is he tackling people out in the store? Like I just didn't like that.
Because Luther messed him up. This is what I'm telling you. So in Luther is like, listen. Y'all like to call them rules. I like to call them guidelines. I like to call them suggestions.
Okay,
do I get
Pirates
the
Code.
Job done? Do I catch the bad guy? Don't worry about my morals and ethics. You know what I mean? And I feel like Justin really took that to heart. And then all of a sudden he's on a sabbatical.
Listen, all I have to say is that I'm very glad that the kid was white. That's all I have to say. Because I was like, nah, man. You out here tackling and he's not on duty? No. Fire. Throw the book at him.
And also the woman, like, said it like this has happened before.
Yes. She was just like, you can't keep doing this, bro.
Like,
please stop.
Go somewhere else.
Please take a nap.
Like, this is ridiculous.
So they're in Peru, and I guess Homeboy starts in the UK, and they go to Peru, and there's Madagascar, so we're all over Earth. Guys, this is the 6th episode that has been set on Earth. Not a single episode has been set in another planet.
No.
Orphan 55, they faked us out, and then it's like, psych, it's Earth. So,
it's Earth.
That's something they've never done before, and I'm curious to see what is circling around the Doctor and why that is, because there has to be a reason for that.
I'm wondering if she's kind of not wanting to stray too far away because of the Master. Also, this is like the episode 6 now, and I just need a preview of like he's coming back, because I just need to know when, because I keep not getting my hopes up, because I'm like, there's really no reason for him to show up here. But also being like, he could show up here.
He could show up anywhere, honestly. They could do, you would, like, it's a 2-part finale, so it's like, obviously he gonna show up there. But there are 2 episodes until the 2-part finale. He could also just like, hey, what's up?
And
how's it going?
Like, y'all know how we feel about Moffat and like our increasing about Moffat. Mm-hmm. But at least he would check in on Missy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In credits, here's what Missy up to.
Yeah.
You know, we don't even know who she is yet, but here she go. Mm-hmm. Season, what's up with the door? The door is still here, just so y'all know. Don't sleep. We don't know who's behind the door, but the door is still here. And I just would love for Chibnall to have some, common respect and decency to my nerves, my poor nerves.
Yeah, obviously.
But yeah, so we go to Madagascar. Well, we go to Peru.
Yes, black girl and her home girl. And I was like,
literally
are they dating?
in like
But they're not. They're just two travel vloggers.
But, like, end up camping in a dump yard. Like
I'm really, like, do they, it's part of the blog that they do no research before going. Because, like, Homegirl was like, oh, 3 years ago, this was paradise. Sure. But, like, she didn't do any kind of, like, reconnaissance before taking this new trip to this river that is now literally dried up plastic landfill. Garbage. She was like, you're going to see the most beautiful place in the world. Oh. Oops.
Oh. Oops.
And then they stay there and camp there. And I'm like, y'all couldn't have gone back like a mile to the other place.
I mean, that part didn't bother me that much. Because if you are hiking to like a campsite and you like, that's where you, like, if you get there and it's not good, you still have just hiked however far to get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they may not have been able to, they may have needed to like, you know, just be like, all right, this sucks, but here we are. I can't go no further.
So her homegirl gets got by some creepy birds.
But also, though, this is where it all goes wrong for me.
Yeah.
Is that you are camping in a garbage
literally
dump,
on a landfill. Mm-hmm.
On a landfill, like, and you hear something and you just go out on your own.
I mean, there's a reason why I was who went out. Gabriella was like, nah, until the next morning. Like, and then she was on some other mess. She's just like, ma'am, I'm about to touch a dead bird. Ma'am.
Ooh, this is colorblind casting run a month.
Ma'am.
Because Brian saved the day. But also, Gabriella would not have been touching that dead bird. And the way it fell from the sky, like, nah. No. Mm-mm. That screams rabies. I mean, the episode birds can get rabies.
But also, the episode is basically about some weird version of rabies, like plastic rabies, where you just like blow up at the end. Mm-mm.
I have never. If you no. I was about to say, like, if you I was thinking about the Gilmore Girls episode where Rory gets hit by the deer and she goes looking for it. Like, if you found the deer, maybe you would touch that deer, but no, you wouldn't.
Nah,
you
Chris.
Like, all right, spotted.
Oh, you don't go here. Chris and Get Out saw that deer in the woods and was just like, and have a great day. I'm going to go upstate with my girlfriend. Right. I'm going to pray for you.
Right. You're just like, okay, I know where it is so I can tell the authorities.
Yeah.
Where I hit a deer, and I'm very sorry about that. Mm-hmm. It's over off of exit 22. Did you touch? No, I ain't touched that thing. Nah. What I look like? Steve Irwin? No. So, yeah, that was offensive to me, actually.
Well, I was upset later when Ryan and Gabriella together go into this like, it's clearly abandoned. The hospital was clearly abandoned. And then they go in there, and it's just like, let's keep going. And okay, they want to find the friend. But why would she be there? And she was there. But why would she be there?
And then Ryan touched the friend. And then I was like, this is...
Ryan, you already said don't touch the bird because it has a weird mark on it. We don't know what it's going to do. And then you see the weird mark on the girl. And then you touch...
With your bare hand?
Ryan Sinclair.
With your bare hand.
He couldn't have taken a little t-shirt that he had in his pocket, book bag, in order to pick up the dead bird. Mm-mm.
Which the entirety of his beautiful fingers.
Which you've already discussed.
Did he listen to the podcast and decide I don't really want Robin lusting after my fingers like this, so
clearly.
I don't want to hold his hand anymore.
Oh no.
Well, I still do. That's a lie. I would just make sure it was washed.
Yeah, it's just like a little hand sanitizer, the anti-bac, TARDIS anti-bac dispenser.
Fingers too good to not hold, but like, I would be upset about it. I was like, you're ruining
the aesthetic here.
You're ruining it. Mm-hmm. And then we cut to they're in Hong Kong. Well, we see Justin showing up. Justin gets a text after he tackled that dude from someone saying, help me, and then sending him his location in Hong Kong.
Right.
And so we followed Justin, actually, to Hong Kong, and where he runs into Yaz and Graham he's trying to kick open a door.
That brute force, man. See, that's the stuff I was just like, that's why you want suspension, bro.
See, but on Luther once manhandled a door. It really, it made my mom distraught. It was really great. With the way that, and so I just feel like it's, Luther did a number on him.
Mm-hmm.
Taught him a lot about policing. Did he teach him the right things about policing? No. No, he did not. But, you are who your mentors are.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but I found it odd that it was, I'm excited to see Yaz always, but I found it odd that it was Graham and Yaz, and Ryan was by himself.
Yeah.
For two reasons. One, Ryan and Graham are supposedly family. Beyond fam, they're like we're supposed to believe them to be, family. And Ryan has dyspraxia, so it just seems like if he's in a situation where he needs to run and escape,
unclear.
You would want to make sure that there's someone there for backup to help him out.
He has a thing, and it just doesn't affect his life it affects his life in exactly one way. He cannot ride a bike.
He cannot ride a bike.
That is the one way in which it affects his life. Yeah.
So that was I was like, oh look, yeah. Also, I was talking to Bayana about this, and Graham said something, and I was like, "Shut up, Graham!" And I was like, "Whoa, I don't like Graham." And it was seriously a shut up. It was a shut up, Graham, in the way that I would say shut up, Nardal.
Oh,
because I used to be like, well, I don't think that Graham is necessary, but I don't dislike him.
Yeah.
And then Bayana put me on game of my own psychology or my own thought process. Some tells you what you're actually thinking. And it's because we don't know them, and they haven't given them anything to do.
Yep. And so Graham is even more useless than he was last season.
Yeah.
Because he's not getting any development.
Right. But we want to know Ryan and Yaz.
Yeah.
So we I'm not as quickly shut up, rando, to them, because I actually am anything y'all say is going to help give me some insight into who you are.
It does.
Whereas we got a lot of insight into Graham's psyche last season, and also didn't care then, don't care now.
Yeah.
So that them being paired up was
with no, because that's also part of the whole lack of development thing. So when they do split up, and they do pair them differently, there's no reason for it.
Yeah,
there's no
rhyme or reason.
There's no underlying oh, we want them to have this special scene together. So because I remember last season in Demons of the Punjab, Ryan and Yaz have a nice moment because she's feeling emotional about her grandparents, and he's nice to her or whatever, and that was a good emotional moment that Ryan could have fulfilled, whatever. But
yeah.
They gave it to Graham. Cool, fine. It shows them bonding as a team and becoming more than just this random person that's your friend's stepdad. But we got none of that. We're still getting none of it. Not a single ounce, literally not a single ounce of the only interpersonal relationship stuff we get is between Ryan and Graham snarking at each other. That's it.
And yo, what happened on the TARDIS? Because Ryan does not fuck with Graham. We talked about it was it last week or whatever? We were that could have been cute ribbing, but they wrote it real strong. And then again, this episode, I was yo, what is going on? Coldemort.
And it would be fine and cuter if we were getting any other relationship stuff between any of the three of them. Or the three, even the three of them to the Doctor, honestly.
Anything. They're literally, there's no difference between the companions and the plethora of rando characters that we meet per episode, except for the fact that they show up each episode.
Yep. And we learn...
That's the only thing that sets them apart from,
no, honestly, we learn more about the revolving door of characters, so it's sets them apart. They're more in touch with the audience or whatever. But speaking of, weird Doctor-companion relationships, the Doctor and Yaz, I am like, what's going on? Like, beyond even the Thasmin of it all, like, Yaz is like, okay, we found this dude, and we found this thing. The doctor shows up and is just like, okay, I got the dude. And Yaz is like, but I want to go look at the thing. And the doctor's like, sure. I'm sorry, what? Like, so I know that they keep leaving, like, the doctor's like, oh, has been dropping them off. Like, the one bit of information we've learned this whole season since the episode 1 was that the doctor keeps dropping them off different places and then going off to find the master and leaving them there for an hour. Like, I still hate that. But leaving them there for an hour, but then obviously never coming back after an hour. But, like, so Yaz is like, hey, I want to go investigate where we just fought off some aliens, and I would like you to leave me here, even though you have a time machine, and give me an hour to search, and then you're going to come pick me up, knowing that, 1, the doctor could, in theory, just skip ahead an hour. Why didn't she do that? 2, that she never shows back up on time. And you were about to go fight some aliens. Like, you were already in the den of some aliens, and you want to go back and then be like, oh, I don't need the backup of the doctor. Just come get me later? Girl.
So I felt like they were trying to do a Clara thing, but they definitely haven't earned that.
No.
Because we do not know Yaz at all. Like, I have the sense that she's very capable.
Sure.
But it's just a sense.
Yeah. Like, I believe that she's capable, but there's no, like, emotional
evidence
reason
to back it up.
Or even, like, yes. Or, like, an emotional reason why she feels like she needs to solve this puzzle. Like, we were trying to figure Yaz out last season, and a lot of the things we were talking about is that, like, she likes to help other people. Like, a lot of her scenes last season were her, you know, like, checking in on the victim of the week and making sure that they're cool and things like that. And she's done a lot of that this season, because there's like 6 victims of the week every episode.
per week.
Right. Her assigned tertiary character of the week. So there's been a lot of that, but so for her to, and yes, she likes a puzzle. She's a police officer for a reason, like, in her muggle life, even though she's apparently on suspension, which I thought wasn't
sabbatical.
Yeah, I guess, but, like, they're really just never going home. Like, they're not even pretending to go home in order to like, I'll go home for a couple days, live my life, and then I'll drop you back off at the normal time. Like, none of that is happening, clearly. Like, time must be passing on Earth the same as
not clearly, because
you're right.
Talk about it.
You're right. So for her to want to solve this puzzle, kind of, like, oh, I saw this thing, I feel like it's important, I want to go get it, was so weird, and not really the same kind of Yaz we've not really gotten to know.
Yeah, and I think too, I was, like, saying this earlier, is I feel like the companions, we don't really know them, and their characterization kind of, like, bounces episode to episode, but I feel like that's also happening this year with the Doctor. Mm-hmm. Or, like, there are just certain things that I just don't know about, because I felt very confident that, like, 11 would not go for that, and would have been also extremely upset.
Yaz, you mean?
Had Yaz called and been like, not only did you leave me here for an hour, but then I left the place that you left me.
Y'all, she teleported again. This is number 4.
But this time, she's sitting there going, well, like, Gabriella's like, are you nuts? And, like, we could die, but then also Gabriella transports with her, and you've known her for 20 minutes.
Why is she
10
here?
minutes.
Why? I love to see a curly black girl on the TARDIS, but why was she here? She did nothing to help the rest of the episode.
And she was, like, oddly very much worried about her followers and her
I hated it.
Fake celebrity, like, her friend just died.
That
and
really
she's like, you don't know who I am?
That really annoyed me, because it felt very Moffat in, like, not understanding the youth. It was just like, oh, well, obviously she's going to be concerned about people not know, like, she's going to think that everyone knows who she is. No, like, even young influencers who are, like, so totally self-absorbed are not going to necessarily be like, oh, obviously everybody knows who I am. Yeah. Because I have 1 million followers on YouTube or whatever. Like, that's just...
There's 7 billion people on the earth, and I have 1 million followers.
And I'm going to assume they all know who I am.
I can start a huge con.
I hate you.
I wasn't gonna say it, but as I started talking, it's the only place that sentence could go.
I hate you.
Was the only place that sentence could go, though, Constance? Was it not? That's what they think of us. You know, I got 2 million followers, and all of a sudden I got a non-existent community. It's just.
Gabriella was trying to book the convention center.
Yep, she booked the entire Baltimore Convention Center and then was like, y'all don't know who I am? Oh, cold.
Well, so I died.
Oh,
but yes,
God.
Who is Yaz? Why is she teleporting places? Why did the doctor let her go?
But why would, yeah, but like, and that, so the doctor is like, not concerned about this behavior.
No.
And this is also the thing about, like, yes, it's a new doctor, but it's the same doctor with the same memories. Mm-hmm. And that should have given Clara vibes, like, whoa, and been like, yo, no, you gotta slow down. Like, what we're not gonna do is that.
There are too many characters on the, y'all, why is every week new people getting on this TARDIS? Like,
the doctor got companions and her companions have companions.
Right, because Gabriella was basically Ryan's companion for like half the episode.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I get that, like, well,
Justin was Yaz and Graham's companion.
People need to go from A to B or whatever. But I do not remember this many new, fresh faces getting on that dang TARDIS in any of the previous 10, 12, 11 seasons before this. This is too many new people on the TARDIS. The TARDIS, also, I was thinking about this during this episode, we haven't gotten the TARDIS as a sentient being much this season.
No.
And, like, I know it was, like, really heavy with 11, but it's always existed. At least in New Who, of like the TARDIS being this like sentient thing that does what it wants and kind of like doesn't listen to the doctor or whatever, or, you know, takes you where you need to go and all that stuff. So like the idea of the TARDIS as a character has really died this season. I don't remember if it was like there was any moments like that last season, but I feel like because there's so many new characters this season, there literally isn't room for the TARDIS to be its own character, which is really disappointing. Because I feel like
the TARDIS would definitely have a temper tantrum about
all these strays. You keep picking up strays.
3 new people on the TARDIS
every week.
Whom you just left the TARDIS by themselves.
Oh, that made me so mad. She was just like, "Oh, by the way, I hooked you up to fix you, but I'm just gonna leave. He might explode all on the TARDIS carpet. Come on, girl."
Just leaving your goo on the carpet. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what they're
doing.
The end game is there, like.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to my sneaking suspicion is that there isn't one.
Or, yeah, I feel like there is one, but
it's just not going to be done well.
Right. I think it's just like a smaller component of the narrative. Because, like, Moffat would, even when it didn't make any sense, I think a lot of the stuff that was, like, a clue, you know, was either towards the ending or a red herring. Or, like, he was just like, they're going to figure it out. Let me change the ending, which was my really big suspicion. I was just like, well, they're just going to figure out that this is what it is, so let me change it so it makes no sense. But I feel like there is some sort of, like, the fact that they're all set on Earth has to be something specifically important. But I feel like the things like the character choices and the lack of interaction between the squad isn't on purpose. So I feel like there are bits of it that are on purpose, but too many more things that are not on purpose. Mm-hmm. And, like, you gotta look at the whole picture. Like, I really hope that at the end of the season, I watch all these episodes like, oh, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's just too many disparate things and too much disconnect between them.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really sad.
So we kind of jumped around there, but
yeah.
So right.
Whoops.
Justin is not his name, but
Jake.
Justin meets Graham and Yaz in Hong Kong. They go into this abandoned building, And we find that there is an astronaut who was the person Justin was looking for.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Adam.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
He's tied up to a bunch of seeming alien tech in this weird hub. It looked like it was supposed to be like a lab.
I guess
I'm
it
not
was
really
a lab, but now I'm real confused. Like, who? Oh, it was the other crew member. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Dang,
and they
just murked those other crew members. When I thought they were aliens, it's fine, but now I'm like, wait, they were the crew members.
I mean, they were aliens. They were
Yeah.
alien crew.
Yeah. And so is Suki. Oh, is that why her name don't make sense?
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm hoping. Because
We'll talk about it in a second. Cause
I know. But so they run into him. Justin tells them that he's a cop. He's not a cop. When they start to rescue Adam, this group of aliens comes to like stop them. There's shooting and things are happening.
Yeah.
Adam says like, "Oh, he's not a cop, and he's my husband, ex-husband." There's some confusion there. By both of them, Justin says, "I'm his husband," and Adam says, "He's my ex."
Yeah,
so
separated.
Awkward, you know. And then the one thing I did like is that so as they start getting shot at, Yaz calls the doctor, and the doctor's like immediately there. This happens too when Ryan and Gabriella are in that hospital thing in Peru, and we get some exorcism horror shit happening, and Ryan calls the doctor, and immediately, like, you turn around and she's there.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like in Madagascar.
Yeah.
When we see her the first time.
Yeah.
But
Rescuing a submarine dude out of the ocean.
Yeah. Which is all of this, as you say it, it's just like, what? so many parts.
Too many pieces, really. Too many.
So many pieces. But I do like that, like, though they are on 3 different continents, which is wild to me. Not even countries, continents.
I mean, it's usually planets, so.
She is close to the TARDIS and, like, ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, scoop them up.
Yeah.
Unlike when she just drops them off and is incommunicado.
It's like, gotta go, gotta blast.
And they're waiting on the stoop. Like, Mom said she'd be back in an hour to pick me up.
In their puffy coats, like, I can't move, I'm bundled up.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
I gotta pee.
Exactly. At least in this instance, like, she was ready to scoop them up.
Yeah.
So she scoops them all up. They end up
in Madagascar.
Going back to Madagascar, at this lab, this research facility with Suki Chang, which we find out from someone in our Piedmont from Reality Bomb, in our Slack community, had a very, like, I hadn't watched the episode when she was going in on it. And as I was watching the episode, I was like, woo, she had valid reasons to go in on this.
Especially
and also
there are so few East Asian characters ever on Who with named characters or having significant plot lines, you know. So for the first one to be named Suki Chang, which is not a name that goes together.
It's a Japanese name and a Chinese name, which, I mean, at that point, then you're like complex backstory, which we wouldn't get in the 5,
right.
Sharing the episode with like
5 other people.
I just said Suki is cousins with Chang.
And maybe that's not her real name. I mean, I guess she does have a complicated backstory. She's an alien or whatever.
Right. And so then
but there's never any like.
Maybe she, as an alien, just like made up this, like took this name, and so that's why it doesn't make sense, and that should have been a red herring. But they don't know bring that up.
They don't bring it up. There's no real reason for me to believe that they would even know that.
Right.
Honestly. You'd have to like know the etymology of both names and their traditional origin, like countries of origin, in order to put that together. And I don't put it on the team. I don't put it on the majority of the fandom. I barely knew until Joy pointed it out. So I'm just like, that wasn't on purpose.
It's definitely one of those things where it's like, for that to have been on purpose, it needs to be so jarring and also pointed out by a character on screen.
Yes.
Because the way that everyone really, every human really is kind of, we're culture blind in a lot of ways to things outside of our culture. So we wouldn't know.
Yeah.
It's how you get white folks touching black women's hair to this day. You know? It's like, how many times do we have to tell you?
Uh-huh.
But because you don't really, a lot of people are not naturally understanding or seeking out knowledge of other cultures and how those things work, you can't expect the audience to pick up on that.
Right. And that's something that's really confusing me with the writing, because I think we were talking about this either last week or 2 episodes ago, or I was talking about the way that the Doctor, like, explains things is very, like, stream of consciousness, but, like, trying to get you to point B, but like with this like Doctor-esque like fluctuation of like, oh, autons, it can't be autons because blah blah blah. Like the way that she does that is very much like walking the audience through the story, but then there are other parts of the story where they seem to be putting down a clue, but then they don't walk you through it. There's nothing to like make you actually believe that that's part of the story or partly a clue. Like the things we're talking about with like 13's personality and like whether she's been extra aggressive with the villains this season and stuff like that. Like that's something that if they were going to walk us through it and make us at least kind of look at it, they would direct us to it on screen with a character pointing it out, somebody looking at her funny. Like there's none of that. But then there are other moments where they're just like, this is what we're doing. And I'm just like, you gotta like, they're not smoothing it out across the different parts of the story, which is why everything feels so disconnected and disjointed.
Yeah. And we like to say as like, you know, show don't tell. But there are certain things that you do need to tell.
Even a little, just a little bit.
Just, yeah. And especially in a show like this where it's, again, I don't know how many times I'd say this, it's a global show.
Yeah.
So you have to take into account the, like...
There are going to be audience members who know that Suki Chang don't make no sense. And they're going to be like, oh, hey, what's up with that? But then it's not a clue at all.
And there's also going to be audience members that have no idea that Suki Chain doesn't make any sense. So it needs to be told if that was the intention.
And I don't.
And if it's not, and so that's why. And you don't get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, that wasn't on purpose. So
yeah,
yikes. First major Asian character in a very long time. I don't remember which episode had the last one. But it's been
a while,
a long time. And then for her to kind of be the bad guy, I was like, that's a little cringe. And it's like I guess she had like not terrible motives. She was trying to find the cure, but yeah, for an episode that tried to be global, like literally, it still somehow failed. Amaru, just out here,
right.
Disappearing and nobody noticing.
No one says anything.
I guess.
In which case, I was like, did y'all mean to cut his character out? Because if you did, then you needed to reshoot the things that he said that you needed. Because you can't cut a character mid.
But he was unnecessary. Gabriella was unnecessary. They really could have done all of those things with the characters that we had.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But we needed Justin because he is Justin.
No, that's correct. I'm saying like the same characters could have fulfilled that role, and Amaru ain't have to die. The birds could have just came in the window. Why do we need somebody watching for the birds for you not to comment on the fact that he died later?
Right. Gone. So we have that, and then we have another, Nicole at Black TARDIS said in our Slack too. It was Orphan. It was the prequel to Orphan 55 because we just get another like you're killing the planet. You're killing the planet. Plastic, plastic, plastic. Which I'm not mad about because I personally think about like the continent of plastic in the well, there's one in the Pacific Ocean. I didn't even realize there was one in the Indian Ocean, but like I think about those like planet continents quite a lot because it's terrifying and we should be thinking about it. But the way in which they execute it was not good.
No, especially when it's 2 episodes, not in a row, but like 2 episodes in the same season on the same planet. I think if it was like, okay, Orphan 55, and then the reveal is that it's Earth.
The big bad is the Nestine consciousness, and we're just going to keep having these PSAs until we get
Nestine, the PSA.
The master is working with the Nestine consciousness because we're killing the planet with the plastics, and that's how we end up at Orphan 55.
Okay.
Or something.
Sure. It's a good starting theory. But
well, because why else are we having?
I know.
Like,
I know. It's
10 PSA episode, very special episodes.
Yeah, it's like in
10,
the same
2,
season.
Yeah.
In the same season for Orphan 55 and for this, like, we get it. I feel like. So for it to be in the same season is really weird to me, especially in a season when we haven't had any other planets. And I think that's why this Earth theme must be the thing, because they could have done this on a different planet and it would have been an allegory for Earth as opposed to, hey, this is actually Earth, stop destroying your planet. And yeah. I feel like if we hadn't had Orphan 55, this episode as is would still be poorly executed, but it wouldn't be as cringe as it is after Captain Planet gave us a speech 2 episodes ago.
She's a hero. She's going to take pollution down to 0.
Listen.
I agree. I definitely agree. I think the other issue that I was having with this is that it feels like that monologue was kind of thrown in and then they didn't...
When they're in the Indian Ocean?
Yeah. No.
Like
when
underneath?
they're in the lab and she figures out what the actual virus thing is.
Oh, girl, she lost me. I was just like, I was with Ryan and Graham, like, I don't know what she's talking about.
I mean, I was annoyed when Graham was like, I'm not made of, I mean, we're not plastic, and I was like, we consume so much plastic. That's like common knowledge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I worry for the British educational system based on what Ryan, Yaz, and Graham all know. And like, even Graham is just like, what's a pathogen? And I'm just like, but you should at least have like I couldn't tell you the definition of a pathogen, but I've heard of it and know what it is.
I have a working understanding of like
what you mean when you say that.
Yeah.
And both of them concern me. I'm just so concerned. And I also think that is a writing issue, because like, to have your characters be really dumb so that you can answer the question, which I don't know, it's like making me think of like, oh, Doctor Who was an educational children's, like family show for like to talk about science and history and stuff, and this felt very much like that, like trying to go back to that idea, but it's still, like you said earlier, like executing it not well.
For sure.
It's like the lab monologue, the monologue when she's under the Indian Ocean.
And again, like, there's a way in which you can do that, and I do think about our plastic problem a lot, and especially because like recently we've had like debates about straws and plastic bags and all this stuff. But like I was saying to Bayana, because I was watching the Super Bowl right before this. I was finishing some of the Super Bowl, and there's Maisie Williams has a car commercial where they kind of like reference global warming, and I was like, it's hilarious that a car company is like did this electric car because of global warming, when in actuality, if you actually wanted to do something about global warming, your industry would stop lobbying against public transit to improve and be better and be like readily available in multiple places. It's like, you can't be like, hey, you know what? Global warming is an issue. Continue to drive a single car. Just make sure it's electric.
Right.
Like, you know, that's not going to solve the actual issue that we're needing to solve. And you, it's the racism debate, right? Like, y'all did this.
Right.
Y'all solved it. Leave individual people out of it. And so having the doctor get on some, like, y'all use so much plastic, it's like, well, it's not that the average human is walking around thinking, how much plastic could I use today? It's literally what's available to us because they make so much plastic. So,
right. It's like the issue where both in this episode and Orphan 55, it's like you give this big speech about like what we need to not do. But the show, just like in real life, like I'm not expecting you to have an answer, but if you're going to have this kind of monologue, it kind of needs to have an answer. Like it needs to address what someone could do. But, like, there's nothing an actual individual can really do because it's so much is in the hands of, like, major corporations. And so what's the point? Because it's also directly to the audience and not really to the characters.
Yes.
You know, like, she's giving all these big speeches, but it doesn't, the characters aren't gonna change or, like, visibly, like, oh, Ryan's now carrying a water bottle because he doesn't want to have plastic water bottles, like Ryan and his hydro flask or whatever. So it's just like, if you're gonna do this and then the characters don't care anymore, don't make reference to it, are barely on the planet that you're trying to save because you keep going on adventures. Yaz is on sabbatical.
Yep.
Like they're just not on Earth except when something is wrong. And so like, what are they doing to save the Earth anyway?
Yeah. So we get to the big finale. They decide Suki's a bad person. She gets eaten or blown up by the virus that's taking her over because she
didn't act in time or whatever. She like
no, she didn't do full, like she's supposed to be a scientist, and she the doctor comes up with a cure, but Suki didn't actually listen. Or take into account that the doctor came up with a cure for humans.
Right.
So she gave herself the antidote, which basically sped up the issue. She gave herself like another dose of the virus, because she was already exposed to the virus. She was exposed to the virus on her home planet, and then she was exposed to the virus and how it mutated for Earth. And the doctor decides that a way to get rid of this virus, this Praxeus virus is where the name comes from, Praxeus, which is where this episode title comes from, the name of the virus, is to blow up the ship that they're on, and in doing so spread the pathogen or the antidote basically, through all of the
atmosphere.
Through the atmosphere.
Which, sure.
But the way to do this is to have that ship that they end up on autopilot. Surprise, surprise, the autopilot fails before they even get to the TARDIS. She's like, we are going to put this on autopilot, and then we need to run to the TARDIS because...
Psych, it's not on autopilot. Like, it was that fast.
Yeah. And then before they even got to the TARDIS, autopilot failed. It's going to blow up, but it's not going to do what it needed to do. So Justin decides that he's going to stay behind and manually pilot this thing, even though his husband is the astronaut, and he is a cop who doesn't seem particularly, like, he didn't even have the app that the doctor gave Ryan to fly the plane, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's...
Sure.
He gets the craft into the air, and then right before it blows up, the doctor comes back, materializes the TARDIS around him, and then TARDIS out, and is able to save him. And like, everyone, when Orphan 55 was happening, everyone was talking about how she didn't go back and save Martha Jr. and her mom.
Yep.
And I wasn't that worried about that, because it's like, well, you know, in, like, if we're doing the multiple time streams, multiverse type of thing, if we stop the planet from even getting there, then, like, saving them, it wouldn't really matter, like, where are you going to put them type of situation. But if you're going to save Justin, then you could have saved them.
Yeah.
So, because we were, after Orphan 55, we were all discussing, and we kind of came to the conclusion, well, like, this doctor is just a little bit colder, you know, and she's not going back and saving people.
But she's a romantic, Robin.
She's a romantic.
But
she's not a romantic when it comes to Martha Jr. and Ryan possibly having a thing.
Yeah.
Or a romantic between mother and daughter reconciliation and love. Like, very strange that decision.
Yeah. I had said that I would do this, and I forgot to before we started recording. But team member, resident virologist, Dr. Kashana Taylor, PhD, was very upset about the terrible microbiology in this episode. Apparently it's not as bad as she thought. I'm like reading her thread, but she was just like, bacteria has nasty side effects, but not that look like the scales on the show. The closest I can think of that matches the scale thing is warts, which is viral. She's like, oh, I just replayed it. They want to genetically engineer a virus. Phew. Okay. Not as bad as I thought. But the plastic metastasized? Also, why are the birds attacking people again? Which is an excellent question. They never actually explain.
They never explained
why that was happening.
Were alien. I thought they were alien birds, but then they weren't.
Oh no!
But maybe they are because all the birds got infected with the alien virus.
It's like zombies or whatever, where it's just like once you get infected, you just want to like attack other things.
I don't know, man.
So they go to isolate, boost, and splice a bird enzyme to supercharge a virus, and the virus will kill the bacteria. And then she uses that's not how any of this works, gift. But also, if they were capable of making this virus produce this enzyme, you cannot. It wouldn't be human or alien specific, but specific to the bacteria itself. So Homegirl should have died, or maybe she shouldn't have died. Because it should have been to the virus and not based on
not to her.
Yeah, not based on your.
Well, my only thought about that, and again, not a virologist, not a PhD, not a bit as smart as Kashana, is that because she took that thing and that
dose?
virus the Earth virus mutated from the alien virus, so maybe she did kill the Earth part of the virus, but then the alien part of the virus that she had killed her anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think the show knows either, so it's fine.
I don't think the show knows.
And I'm going to say it one more time.
Called Kashana.
Why was Gabriella here? I'm glad she survived the episode. But also, why was she here? Also, why was there a voiceover?
Also, why did she invite herself on their honeymoon?
That's weird. That's real weird.
They did not interact in the show.
You're right.
It wasn't like through their adventure they formed a bond.
Nope. No. Mm-mm. They don't know each other.
Tell me that Adam and Justin know Homegirl's name.
They don't.
Maybe they watch her travel vlog?
No, they didn't. No. No one watches her travel vlog. And also she's just like, yeah, I want to do a vlog about it. Girl, your best friend just died. That you've been doing this with for 5 years. She moved on so fast.
You haven't even done the vlog telling your followers Homegirl died. All of a sudden, I'm subscribed to Two Girls Roaming or whatever the hell that vlog is. I go, oh, a new video's been uploaded. 3 idiots roaming. What happened to Jessica? Where'd she go? So cavalier about your best friend.
Of 5 years.
At least your coworker. You know what I mean?
She said best friend in Spanish.
Just so y'all know, like, and I don't really want to put this out in the universe, but if something happened to one of the members of Black Girls Create, we're gonna take a moment. Like, and I say a moment, but it
might be over.
It might be like
it might be over. Like, I can't go on. Like, what?
Right.
I was thinking the same thing. I was just like, so Robin disappears tomorrow, and then just Bayan is back on the podcast, and we're just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
What? Just a whole new
Just a whole new.
friends
No, it would just be like,
on their honeymoon.
welcome
To my new white gay friends.
Yep. Welcome to time and relative strangers in space, because we don't. I don't know. I just got new co-hosts. We good.
We just met. Yeah, actually, it would be like me or you finding completely new co-hosts who don't don't watch Doctor Who.
I don't know why I'm here.
Yeah.
But I'm here.
But, we met that one time, and we were on the TARDIS, so we're just going to do this together from now on.
Yeah, we go together now.
Yeah.
It just made no sense.
We go together now. I mean, I guess she's lonely, but as you said, homegirl ain't even did the final, like, farewell episode.
And I thought, like, when she said that she wanted to go with Yaz, and, like, discover the thing when she left Ryan, I was like, okay, 'cause she's angry and she wants payback.
Yeah.
But nope, next scene, she's like, you know who I am, right? You know my blog. Like, what?
And it's funny because she's clearly interested in travel vlogger or whatever. She ain't want to go with the doctor. It's a time
She didn't want to go on the TARDIS.
A spaceship. I can't.
Nah, man.
I can't. So that was an episode.
Much.
It happened. And, I guess nothing could have even come close to the last week's episode. But it's interesting that both Spyfall and Fugitive of the Jadoon, which both had major, big, splashy moments, followed it up with an Earth Day PSA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really did.
Guys.
Ryan rants and raves?
But, like, we get nothing. They're not.
Nothing.
We're getting nothing. Like, this section is slim. It's skinny.
So that's the rant.
Yeah.
We still don't know anything really meaningful about Ryan, about what he wants, about where he's, like, we don't know. We just don't really know. I did like the idea that he was traveling on his own, and that, he literally came over that trash hill like a hero. Was like, don't touch that, which I don't know why he had to be the one to tell her that, but, okay, girl. And I was like, okay, look at Ryan, he out here. And then my next thought was like, doesn't he have dyspraxia? Isn't this dangerous to, like, not that, like, you need someone, like, or that people with, like, a chronic disease are not capable. Like, I don't want it to seem like I don't think he's capable,
right.
But just in terms of, like,
they introduced the thing and then just haven't brought it up since. And I think if they had brought it up,
you have, like, support.
Right.
You have, like, different ways. Like, I personally have a chronic illness, and it's classified as a disability, and, like, I would not put myself in situations in which I'm like, this is something that, like, would be dangerous.
Yeah.
And if I find myself, like, having an episode or having something, that I would be
by yourself.
By myself, SOL.
Yeah.
And not just for me, but I don't think that, like, the loved ones in my life,
mm-hmm.
like, that would to me, it just seems like it would be unnecessarily stressful. And I mean, I do love Ryan, because, I mean, have you seen Ryan? But, like,
I have eyes.
If Ryan is a loved one to me, hell, my dad used to call me in college when I would, like, he figured out my work schedule, and he would call me when I got off work, and it took me a day or two, but I was like, are you walking me home from California? And he would just be on the phone, because the way his anxiety was set up was like, I know that you walking around in the middle of the night in Ku Klux Klan country, so let me just, be available in case something pop off. And, like, I just feel like if I was Ryan's loved one, I'd be like, I mean, I personally think that you can, take on the world, but I would rather you not. Like, when you don't have to.
You broke me, Robin. You broke me. But yes.
Why? But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's not even that, like, he was out here by himself and he has this thing. Because like you said, I think that he could be very capable and is very capable, and that is an important message to tell, but they also introduced this thing and then did nothing with it. And I think that if it had been brought up at all, at any point this season, it would be different if to see him by himself here. But it literally hasn't been brought up since last season. Like, early last season.
And I'm not saying that, like... And I also don't think that, like, having aid makes you any less capable. Like,
Sure.
they're, like, blind people can do insanely amazing things, but they have seeing eye dogs or certain, like, technology and eco locations. And, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, what's most impactful is when you openly talk about the things that you've created or surrounded yourself with to allow you to have to allow you to tackle whatever you want to tackle.
Right.
And they just don't do that for him, which makes it seem like this practice is not
even a thing.
Yeah, which I think does more harm. It makes it feel like it's not even a thing to worry about.
And
it's
then
like,
it's
oh, I'm
like
left-handed. You know what I mean?
And then it's just like, well, fine. That also could be fine if they weren't like, we spoke to like organizations to really like do the representation right. And it's like, I mean, maybe the organization was just like, well, just treat him like a normal person because he is. Yeah. But they still did all this stuff to, like, introduce it. Like, every week we've said this. It's just like they did all this work to introduce that he has dyspraxia and then haven't brought it up since. And,
no.
I mean, but that's just the problem with the season in general is that, like, nobody's getting anything because Graham had cancer, and Yaz is a police officer, maybe. And none of that has been a thing. Also, Ryan, why is Ryan touching stuff?
Why?
Another rant. Why he touching stuff?
Why is he touching shit? Why is he just sweeping aside a quarantine site? He ain't got no mask on. Like, you want to talk about, like, you want to lecture us about how we treat the planet.
How about how we treat our bodies?
And how we're killing ourselves. Meanwhile, I mean, obviously, I know how television works. Coronavirus wasn't a thing when this was being shot. But swine flu was a thing.
The regular flu.
Like, the regular flu was a thing. We've had, like, how many, like, catastrophe movies about mass outbreaks, and they're not like, look, I got this, but let me put this mask on and these gloves on before I go
around here.
Touch this dead woman.
Like, he really touched a dead person. Like, he really touched a dead lady.
He really did.
Not even just like on her cheek, on the scales on her cheek that had sprouted that looked like the scales on the birds that you already told her not to touch. I literally thought, and
this could also be because I can't see nothing, but I was like, is this like the Tim Shaw? Is Tim Shaw doing this? Like, they don't look strictly like teeth, but
it was a little
what is going on here?
It was a little teeth-like.
And I'm just very disappointed.
Yeah.
Quotes
from the TARDIS. And the first one is Ryan-rific.
So I will give Gabriella all of the things for this.
Absolutely.
She decided she was going to pat Ryan down, which, like, why and with under whose authority.
But also, why not?
Why not? Right.
You see an opening and you just take it, you know?
You take it. So she's patting him down, and she's like, oh, you work out. Ryan said, I do a lot of running. And then Bayana, same, a man. I just had to add that in there.
Obviously.
And then another Bayana quote before we get to the next one is when they are in that, when Graham and Yaz were in there and the aliens come by and they start shooting.
Right.
She said, are you my mummy?
Oh, yeah.
Because the aliens had the mask on because they knew that they were dealing with the virus.
Because they were scientists. They were smart. They was cautious.
Cautious.
That's why you smell of dead bird. I thought you changed your shower gel. That's so rude, Darty. Come on.
It's So rude.
But hey.
But also the idea that she's like, I don't know, man, Ryan wants to smell.
Yeah, she's like, these manly scents that they be coming out with these days. Scents. You know, trying to make it masculine. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I used to be on that, but I've changed. I've had an upgrade.
Oh, man. Come on, brains. She said brains. Like, plural? Which is another thing that I want them to explore, which is, like, they still don't know who she is.
Yeah.
I mean, they had that big speech about, we know who you are.
But they don't.
They
really don't. They might know she has 2 hearts, but I don't even know if they know that yet. And I think that, like, during a first season of a companion, like, they've always, like, slowly learned about who the Doctor is, but I feel like it's way slower. Like, we're not learning anything about how she is. Or, like, they're not learning anything about her past at all. Not to the degree that other companions have.
It was even just in Spyfall that they learned that she wasn't lying when she said she used to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's a whole season later. And I don't
think, did they really go through regeneration? I think they kind of did.
I think it came up, yeah.
Yeah, so they, like, do now understand regeneration.
And that's usually the one thing that they don't get, which, like, whatever. Yeah. You know, I feel like you should explain to every companion, hey, just in case I get shot, I might turn into a new person. But I understand how that might be a weird topic to broach with, like, a new human. So I understand, like, that being one of the last things you tell them until it's like, oh, crap, it's happening right now. But there are certain basics that I think would have come up earlier. Like, that should have come up earlier. As many ventures as they clearly are having, because it's very clear that there's a lot of things happening between each adventure that we see. I feel like even more than other companions in the past, simply because of the fact that they're never going home. Like, maybe not more than a Moffat companion, but definitely more than RTD companions. And so they're having all these adventures, and she didn't slip up about none of this until now. Yeah. I feel like there are ways for them to, like, have learned something about the Doctor on an off-screen adventure and then still, like, bring it to the table. Like, yeah, she told us that once. You know, like, there are ways to address that they are getting to know her before this point without us having to see it until this point. And they're not doing that.
Or even if this is, like, a thing, you know, like, she would hear that and then, like, respond to it. Mm-hmm. So she would be like, no, I just have the 2 hearts. We've talked about this. You know, or, like, something. Because we do get the sense that, like, Graham is a little bumbly and, like, anxious about certain things. Like, he doesn't even know how to hold his map, but whatever. So, like, yeah, but that wouldn't just be, like, I don't know. I clocked that line because I was like, wow, they really don't know. They don't know her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not full of plastic. You're full of something.
Ryan does not go for Graham, and we need to talk about it. What happened?
It's like suddenly he was calling him Grandpa. Oh, I think it's because the fandom, well, maybe they were listening to us. I don't know. A lot of people really go up for Graham in the, like, all those, like, Twitter polls. He's always the top. And I'm like, really? So maybe
Bradley Walsh is like a celebrity on his own. He's more famous than the other two. Than, maybe not more famous. I don't know how successful Broadchurch was.
Right, yeah.
Cultural. I mean, it was successful, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, how well it resonated, as opposed to, like, he was in EastEnders, I think. So, like, EastEnders is basically Young and the Restless. It's like, if Victor Newman is in a poll,
you vote for Victor Newman, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I only bring that up because, why did I bring that up?
Because Ryan does not see it for your man. I need the backstory.
Just, like, why? Like, where? Whatever.
We went from them, like,
he was calling him Grandpa. And I was gonna say, that's where it was. I was gonna say, like, well, the fandom was saying, and I really mean us, we were saying that, it was like, really? He has to call him Grandpa? Like, we didn't need to go all the way there. And then by the time we got there, it was just like, yeah, we knew it was coming. It's fine. Who cares? Whatever. But they went from like having this like, we are family now. We're gonna go up for each other's ride or die out here, to him being like, you full of something.
Mm-hmm.
With no explanation. I'm the one who's always
got to keep up with Graham. He always behind. Don't stop asking me about that fool. Like, what is going on? Well, you don't do things by halves. I put that down because it just is like
Yaz,
and it's also like she doesn't do things by halves in other adventures too. Like, just, tell me more. Tell me more.
We're so close to learning more. Because I've never gotten that sense before. Like, that's
almost a peek into her personality and who she is.
Right. I wasn't like, you right. I was just like, oh.
Really?
Yeah, I was just like, okay, sure. As opposed to, yeah, I remember that other time that Yaz, like, just ran into the thing without questioning it. Like, every other time she's been sucked up this season, it's been because she just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time because she was trying to be nice to somebody. Control. And now she just, like, really goes all the way. And then she was, like, salty because... I forgot about this. She was salty because she didn't discover an alien planet. And I was just like, but since when does she care about that?
Yeah, when was that a thing that she was really wanting to do? Because it gave off vibes of her trying to, like, prove herself.
Right, but the doctor already she already thinks you could do everything.
Yeah, it's like, so where did this come from? Show me.
Because she literally was just like, sure, you could have an hour. Like, the doctor would not leave you for an hour if she didn't think you could do it. Oh, I'm a sucker for a scientist.
The way that she said that.
I mean, Jodie.
I love Jodie.
Jodie! Jodie's a delight.
She knows what she's doing.
I don't know if the writers do, but Jodie does.
Jodie does.
Jodie works with what she's got.
Yes. I'm having half a thought. Ooh, this one tickles.
I've been there. Been there.
Yeah? Tickly thought? I've had prickly thoughts, but those tickly ones.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to whatever this was.
Listen, Justin was there,
and that's all that matters.
The episode was a success.
Okay, that's all that matters.
In my view.
Check us out at blackgirlscreate.org. You can follow us on social media. Follow at We Black and Nerds on Twitter. Robin_Ravenclaw, Robin with a Y. You can follow me at Constar24 and use the hashtag Tarbus to chat along with us. You can also join our Slack channel or our Slack group where we have a channel dedicated to conversations about Doctor Who.
Rate and review us on iTunes and where podcasts are found. Also, you can become a Patronus. Head over to patreon.com/blackgirlscrate to support what we do. Patronuses who donate $25 per month will get Tarbus bonus episodes recapping episodes of Classic Who. So if you want our thoughts on 50s white nonsense, level up. And
we'll get there.
We have Tarbus merch. So if you also go to blackgirlscrate.org, you can pick up a fancy Tarbus shirt.
Get that Tarbus shirt.
Told is comfortable. I know for a fact it's stylish because I own one.
Yep. I know for a fact it's stylish. I designed it. It was a joint effort with me and Bayana.
I got the translation. That was me.
Did you?
That's cool. Yeah.
No, yeah. I did. I was on that TARDIS.
No, you got. Well, I mean, I
got the Gallifreyan.
I got it to work on the shirt.
Yes, that is true. I mean. That
you
is
just
factual.
Gave us a.
That is factual. Anyway, you gotta rep.
Group effort.
We gotta rep our new doctor, time and relative blackness in space. So get the shirt and be like, it's about Ruth, and tell everyone about the podcast, the great podcast that you listen to that inspired you to get it.
Yes. And Tarbus is a part of Hard Knock Media. We've joined the Nerds of Color podcast network, including the podcast Hard Knock Life, Southern Fried Asians, DC TV Classics, Ask Bi Girls, Daisy Geek Girls, We're Not All Ninjas, and That Moment. You can check out all of these podcasts at Hard Knock Media That's hardknocknoc media.com.
Thank you once again for listening. We'll be back next week for Doctor Who episode 12, season 12, episode 7, Can You Hear Me? Which, we'll see. It's another spooky one. It seems really spooky, and I'm just like, eh. It also seemed Graham-centric from the trailer that I saw. I think Yaz... It seemed like Yaz was on a couch somewhere, so maybe we'll see her inner life, sleep. Graham...
Listen, can we go to one of Yaz's therapy sessions? Because I feel like at least that way we'd get to know her.
Honestly, can we just go to one of their houses? Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Graham seemed to be going through something. He's, like, seeing things in this trailer, so, maybe this is the one. 7 episodes in, maybe we'll get some character development for the characters that we know. We'll see. There's only 2 episodes left until the 2-part finale, BBC America told me. So, really, there's only... I doubt we're going to get any character development in the 2-part finale where the Master and likely Ruth come back. So, there are 2 episodes left until we get character development for the characters that we know.
I didn't hear what you said. All I heard was there's 2 episodes left until the Master comes back.
That is the most important thing that I
heard.
said. That is the most important thing that I said.
That is what I heard.
That's what I said. You're not
Sasha?
wrong. You're not wrong. I wait with bated breath for our lovely brown rocker of the plum velvet suit.
I'm feeling fillings.
Until then, we out.
Bye.
The black girls have the box.